I gotta say, I really love that music. It really reminds me of like something from like Clerks, like 90s, like metal. I don't know why it just does. It reminds me of something you'd watch if you saw the movie Clerks 30 years ago. Damn it, 30 years, fuck. 32 years ago. If you saw it, like they do those little like screen like where it goes from scene to scene and it says like a word that really doesn't make it's like a really smart word that doesn't make sense. That's the type of music that they play like in the background during those transitions.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It does sound like that. It is a pretty good. Thanks to Apple Music for that. Not what is it? Copyright free music from Apple. So
yeah,
if it's free, it's for us.
And I am sweating. It's not because I watched Cops. It's because I played Floor is Lava with my daughter.
You played The Floor is Lava. Yeah. I thought you said Forest Lava, and I'm like, what type of Eastern European game are you playing, bro? Cheers, Guff.
Cheers. It's like my first.
Oh, that's that game with the drones and people getting blown up all the time on Twitter. Oh, that's something different.
That's terrible.
It is pretty terrible.
So
you can't look away it though. Not to interrupt anything. We haven't gotten started yet. Not to get like you just can't not. The second those videos start on my like as I'm scrolling on Twitter, I have to watch till the end. You know what's gonna happen, and it's horrible. And I'm not trying to poke fun at it because like it is fucking gruesome and disgusting war. But it's so, dude. It is so not fair. It is so like people get mad like at gun crimes. It's like imagine just like some dude sitting in a basement somewhere like, fuck you, buddy. All right, I'm going to eat dinner.
Jesus,
I legitimately thought he was going to eat dinner just now.
I didn't even eat yet. Actually, I think we're gonna have some chili cheese dogs when I get off.
That is
nice. But anyway, sorry for taking it in a weird place. I was just I always get caught in that rabbit hole of watching those videos, and it's like I want to not watch them, but once they start, you have to watch the end.
Let's talk about that for a second. What are the weird videos that you watch? I have a weird video sequence that I watch, and Meredith always says like, "This is so weird. Why are you watching it?"
Wait, I just have a quick question. You having chili cheese dogs? You having dinner with Sonic and Tails after this?
Aren't you jealous if I was?
I would be.
Right?
I love chili cheese.
Then we're gonna go hang out with the Rocket Power kids. They all do meth now.
That's terrible.
Hawaii's full of it, bro. What do you expect?
Talk about your weird.
Where do they live in Hawaii?
Were they Hawaiian or were they Californian?
I want to say they were in California, man. They just happened to have.
They just bit into that like Hawaiian, like, hey, blood, like.
No, just they didn't talk like that.
Shotgun. Yes, they did.
The Hawaiian guy talked like that.
But they all did that shock. Yeah, maybe it's a surfing thing. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, back to your question. The rabbit holes I get stuck in. Let's see.
No, not rabbit holes.
No, like I know what you mean. Like the videos that you just
watch. Yeah, that are weird.
Okay,
but you weird. Like seek them out where you're just like, oh, I want to watch this set of video.
Not weird, like weird that I don't have I don't do it. I don't scuba dive, but I've been watching this podcast online, Dive Talk, and it's all about cave diving and shit. And literally, it throws my like fear all out of whack because it's just like, oh yeah, we just squeezed through this tight cave right here underwater. It's like, why? You could die. Why? There's nothing in there. It's water and rock. There's nothing in there. Why? And I'll sit there for hours watching it.
That freaked me out. That definitely freaked me out.
That's what it is. It's just like a fear-based thing. I'm just watching because it's like I could never do this in a million years. You couldn't pay me to do it, and these people do it for fun.
My weird thing isn't that weird, but it's like ridiculous. There are these kids on TikTok that play mini golf, and they do competitions to get you like they do like a major. They do tournaments every now and then. And I watch. They release 3 videos a day. And I watch all. They're all from Wisconsin. They're all like. and all I do is comment making fun of all of them. They never answer. It's hilarious. It is so funny.
Too busy playing mini golf, dude.
Yeah, one kid looks like
You're
Gomez
just
Adams.
jealous, dude.
One kid looks like Gomez Adams. And I'm like, yo, he looks like Gomez Adams. I just came out on every video he's in, and no one ever answers.
Dude, you're just jealous that you're not out there playing in a mini golf tourney
in the Midwest. They're like sometimes they're
they
playing.
still got A&W in the Midwest.
Oh, that's true. But they're like one time they were playing. It was like May, and they were like in sweaters, and I'm like,
oh fuck,
warm.
Dude, that's upstate New York. Go to Fort Drum. Go to freaking Watertown, New York. It snows in May and September. That place is the wall.
That's.
I follow a couple people on Twitter that golf in the Midwest, and like mid-May, they were like, "Well, no golf today," and there was an inch of snow. I was like, "Oh, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like Wisconsin sucks, folks.
Oh, easy.
Dude,
I got friends that live in Wisconsin.
If you have to leave your house, you're walking out of your garage with your golf clubs over your shoulder, and you realize like, oh shit, it snowed last night. Never mind. Let me go back to May 15th. All right, yeah.
And the funny thing is, I watch it with my daughter, and there's this one girl who's like, there's one girl like they play like they all play with the same kind of people over. It's like the one of the guy's girlfriend. She is fucking awesome. She shoots like in the 30s every round, and she just destroys them. So my daughter watches with me, and she's like, "Is she gonna win again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, she's gonna win again. This girl destroys everyone." It's fun though. I mean, it's good content because they get like well over like 200,000 likes per video, and they must get like probably close to 1 million views per video.
At least they're going outside and doing something, unlike everybody else's kid that sits there and watches that. Like, oh, mini golf is cool. Hey, buddy, you want to go outside and play? No, I want to watch videos about other people playing.
Yeah, I think they're like either college age or like post college age, and two of them are like actually like they played college. I don't know what college they played at, but they played college golf. Nice. And one of the guys is actually trying out for the what is it? When the U.S. Open, you have to do the
you have to go through the qualifying rounds.
He was doing a qualifier in Wisconsin, and he's actually winning, so he was actually pretty good. So
sick. What about you, Nick? What does Meredith rag on you that you're watching and she finds it odd?
And this is my plug for the night. I watch a show on YouTube called The Hoof GP, and it's literally this Scottish dude that his job is to shave cattle's feet.
I've seen those videos.
I watch that when I'm going to sleep, and I want to say it's because they play really soft like country rock music in the background, and it just lowers my whole like body temperature. And like if I'm going to sleep, I'm like, yeah, I'm putting that on because it's gonna be like some like banjo-y soft rock. And then this dude just like, oh, you know what it's like? It's like watching Bob Ross, but like instead of painting, he's shaving shoes. Like that's what he's doing.
Listen,
like,
some people listen to smooth jazz to go to sleep. Some people white noise. Nick listens to sheep hoof shaving.
No, not sheep. Cattle.
Cattle hoof shaving. Listen, I will.
But it's a combo of like the soothingness, and then also it's like borderline Dr. Pimple Popper because
I was going to say some of those videos, like when they pull a fucking nail out, and it's like, oh, there's a nail, and you don't realize like it's a nail, like it's massive, and it comes out with usually like a squirt of blood and pus, and then the guy sits there and opens up the hole, and it's like that's got to hurt.
Yeah. Well, and
then he reassures you that like they don't feel this at all.
Yeah, apparently
he knows. He fucking knows that, like, what you're thinking while you're watching that. As somebody that's never been around cattle, it's like that's gotta fucking hurt. You just dug a 4-inch hole, and he'll at that moment be like, "This doesn't hurt them at all. They don't feel this at all. It'll just grow back, no problem."
My favorite is that's not this cow making that noise. It's the cow that's about to get in here, freaking out.
Well, you know what's a good one? Talking about like shaving stuff down. There's a guy on TikTok that does videos where he'll go to either abandoned houses or whatever, or people who have like the high hedges.
People call the cops on him.
I was just gonna say, what's wrong with people? Like this guy's like, they call it, like they'll be assholes about it though. The fact that they like these older fucking, it's all older Karens or older white dudes that walk across the street and be like, "What are you doing?" Like, "Oh, this is an abandoned property. I'm just cleaning up for the dude." Why? What is that on you?
Neighborhood value to go down.
Right.
Yeah. Like he does it for free. And it's always so cool when he does a speed up and it's I'm like, this is awesome.
He always looks like he's in a really hot climate too, where it's like, that's the last thing I'd want to do at noon on a fucking Tuesday. Is like, oh, I'm gonna do some charity work and cut down this field while these two old people badger me and call the police.
Dude, some dude called the cops on him, and the cop was like, he's not doing anything wrong, man. And he's just like, he can't just walk through my neighborhood.
Yeah, I saw the one where the cops came and they were like, "What are you doing? You just cleaning up this abandoned property?" He goes, "Actually, I have permission from the city." And the cop walks over to the guy and was like, "What's your fucking problem? Like, he's just cleaning up for the city. He told you that, and you like go inside, mind your business." I was like, "Yes."
I mean, think about it. If your neighbor's house, right, and like if it's like an elderly person or just someone who's like an invalid or someone who doesn't give a shit.
So, dude, somebody dies and the bank owns the property now, and it just sits there and rots.
That too. And this guy's going around just doing it for free and cleaning everything up in the neighborhood. I'd be like, fuck yeah, do it, man.
Dude, I'd be out there like, yo, dude, let me help you, and let's fire some beers down while we do this. Come on.
That's some borderline Jesus stuff right there. When you're just helping your neighbor just because.
100%.
You know what? I'll tell you right now. I see people mowing lawns in my neighborhood all the time. You know what I don't do? Ask them what they're doing. Clearly, I can tell because I have an intelligence level of about an average human being that if you're carrying a bunch of like lawn mowing equipment and you fire it up and you run it over some grass, then clearly you must be mowing a lawn. And why would I give a shit if you're mowing somebody's lawn that's not mine?
We should reach out and get him on the podcast.
Oh my God, that guy's awesome. He's doing the Lord's work.
Dude, imagine somebody coming to your house and doing the lawn because they just like, oh, I thought I was supposed to clean this property. I got confused. And going out there angrily and being like, whoa, what are you guys doing? I'd be like, I'll let them know when they're finished.
Yeah.
So, TJ brought up Wisconsin. And
great
Wisconsin brings up thoughts of the NFC North. And right now they're actually playing in the Bears, not Bears, are playing in the Hall of Fame game, opening to the preseason. Mm-hmm. And the preseason's about to start, and I think everybody in the entire NFL, your main thought is, please, dear God, do not let anybody on my team get injured. And that is my segue into I feel like that character is not saying "Go Big Blue" anymore. He's saying EAGLES.
Might as well. I mean, the best player went there.
Well, that's the guy in the picture that he's holding the stadium on his back. As they say,
is that who that was?
Yeah, it's 26, man. Either that or it's Antrell Roll. You make a decision of who you want him to be.
At this point now, I think fans would be like, yeah, Antrell Roll's the man. Fuck that other guy.
I'm texting Coop right now for a new NFL intro.
So the Texans are playing the Bears right now, and I got to say the Texans' new uniforms look really sharp. I like them. But obviously some news. I don't know if you've seen this lately, T. A lot of news coming out of Jets camp. Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers seem to be getting into some excitable conversation on the sidelines.
I saw that.
Obviously, and of course, everybody who wants to LOL Jets will make it into something that it's not. And quite frankly, I don't think. And if you look at the expressions on their faces while they're having these conversations, I don't think you could sit there and say that they're arguing. They're having an excited conversation.
I think, well, I was going to say they're both speaking to something at either they're at an agitated state or an aggressive manner because they both feel a certain way about it. Me and you have gone back and forth way more angrily and nastily about an argument of nonsense. It could be a fucking quote from a movie that we're just to go at each other, and because it's just fun and competitive to bust each other's balls and be argumentative. It means nothing. They're on a team. They're men stuck playing with other men. Everybody's testosterone is going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, right? Everybody's getting pissed off about this and that. They're hot. They're getting in the swing of things. So if people get testy with conversations around the field and nothing, no fists are thrown or people bitch to the media, that's just business as usual. Where's the story?
Here's my problem. At the end of the conversation, you look at Rodgers, he's laughing, and they shake hands.
Yeah, no, there's no issue.
They give each other a pound, and they fucking go their separate ways to go talk to other guys.
The very next day in practice, didn't he hit him like fucking 3 or 4 times in the end zone for TDs? Yeah.
He's the best wide receiver of the team. He's not going to get shunned by Rodgers by yelling at him.
But not even that. Like, if he's the best wide receiver on the team and they know they have to be hooking up at a high rate, right? And they understand that he's going to be the double coverage guy. They're trying to get on the same page and they're animated about the conversation on the field. What's the problem? It's like, it's fucking sports, people.
Yeah, I mean, I don't take. I saw that people post that and they were like, talking their shit like they usually do with the Jets. But like I was like, whatever, they're talking. Like they're playing football. It's a high energy sport as it is. And they're just getting excited about what they're talking about. If anything, if they weren't talking, I think that'd be a bigger issue.
Well, I was going to say, they try to make something out of nothing with football a lot. And how many times do you see a veteran and a young buck in the NHL in preseason mix it up in practice, dude? Right? You just see a random fight. I think Phil Kessel got into one a couple years ago with some young guy on the team. And it's like, yo, that shit happens. And guess what? Nobody makes a big deal of it ever in the NHL. But two grown-ass men having a heated conversation, you can't even prove that it's an argument. And New York media wants to spin it, and all these Jet fans that just want to shit on the team for some reason.
They're just miserable.
Like, why are you fans?
Great question.
They want to be miserable. It's like they're just used to being so miserable for all these years that like if something nice is going to happen for them, they're like, we got to tear it down. We got to be miserable.
They're the people that bitch when their neighbor's lawn gets cut for free.
Yeah, same people.
So in other Jets news, and then we'll move on. This tweet from Adam Schefter on the 30th. Jets head coach Robert Saleh said that Aaron Rodgers, who is recovering from his Achilles injury, is unlikely to play in the preseason. Okay. How misleading is that?
Yeah.
Right? That's just bad journalism overall.
Yeah.
He's trying to say that he's still injured, and that's why he's not playing.
Yeah,
that is not what, like, CJ Stroud is not playing in this game right now. It has nothing to do with any injury. It's just why risk it? We just said it, right? Everybody wants to get through training camp in one piece, no injuries, injury free. We just found out that DeAndre Hopkins is now missing 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah,
so he'll miss the start of the season. So like, I just don't get like, and then Schefter's like, oh, I didn't say anything wrong. I'm like, the way you worded this, you knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. You were trying to say that he's injured still. He's not. He's not playing because why? What for? What for? There is an actual number. I don't know what the number is, but there's an actual number for every single person on the amount of like things that you can do, right? The amount of hits that you can take, the amount of miles that you can run. Everybody's got a tread life to them with whatever you're doing. One day you threw your last pitch, or you shot your last puck, or you ran your last mile and you didn't know it, but that was the tread on your body, that your body was like, I'm done here. Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. If he can only play 17 more games for the rest of his life, because we don't know, right? Why would you make one of them a preseason game?
Fact.
He's not playing 17 though.
I hope he has 34 at least. The only other thing on the radar for the Jets, last thing, Tariq Cohen retired abruptly. Signed with the Jets in the offseason, retires. But the truth of the matter is, if you look at the Jets running back room, he was kind of the odd man out. He was only there for his special team skills. And coming from a guy that made a Pro Bowl years ago, it's probably not a good feeling. And if that's the way it's looking across the board, if the Jets were the only ones that offered him a contract and it doesn't look like he's going to play there, he doesn't want to be a practice squad guy or lose face by being cut, then you just retire, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if he was going to be a special teams guy, I'd probably want to be a kick returner. And like, there's really no like kick return this year. They made all the rules different. So like, what else are you going to fucking do?
Right.
Retire.
As far as the Jets are concerned, that's it. What about what's going on with the Giants? I heard Malik Neighbors looks really good.
Yeah, I told you this last week that I don't put too much stock in
either he's really good or your DBs are really bad.
Exactly. So we don't know what it is, but he does look really good. Daniel Jones is actually throwing the ball well. Somewhat, I mean, not extremely well, because we talked about last week. They had that clip where he missed the guy on a flat, and then he had another one. What it's for. He overthrew like I think Neighbors by like 15 feet. But listen, there's good plays. They say Neighbors is having really good practices, really good training camp, so that's promising. They said Jalen Hyatt too. He had a long pass caught today in practice. I heard on the radio somebody I called in was started giving the breakdown of what the Giants camp was going on, and they cut him off like we don't need a play-by-play of training camp. It's not important. But I'm the same way. I don't put too much stock in the training camp. They had the last episode of the Hard Knocks was last week. I didn't watch. I mean, this week. I didn't watch it, but I saw a clip where Shane basically tells Dable, like, we're not drafting a quarterback. Daniel Jones is our guy. And the body language from Dable is kind of like, dude, really? And he's like, he goes, are you okay with it? Like, because Dable doesn't say anything when he says it. And Dable goes, yeah, I'm okay with it. But like, he's not looking at Shane. He's like looking at the TV. He's like, yeah, I'm okay with it like that. And then everyone's like, body language can talk. That says 1,000 words about how he feels about Daniel Jones. But listen, I think maybe he might have a conversation with Shane. Maybe they have like an agreement. Like, even if it doesn't work out with Daniel Jones, he wasn't your guy. You know, you're here 3 years. You haven't gotten the quarterback you wanted. So maybe they have a good deal. Like, we'll at least see year 4 if Daniel Jones doesn't work out. But who knows?
But here's the problem, though, right? We don't know what the interviews look like, right? Like, I always wonder how Aaron Boone ever got a job as the Yankees manager when he has no experience being a manager. Like, what did you say on that interview? I hit a lucky home run once, so give me the job. My dad was a good manager, so give me the job. Like, I don't know what he said on that interview to get the job, but did Dayball go into the interview and go, I can work with Daniel Jones? Because if that's what he said, then the owner may not give a shit if Shane wants to give him another year after Jones is gone, if Jones is gone.
No, I agree. And I think I just
saw, I mean?
I had a notification before. It said that, who was it? John Mara has no regrets about signing Daniel Jones last year, wants a big step forward. So, I mean, they're still.
But that just goes to show that the Maras are so out of touch. It's not even funny. If that's how he really feels, and it's not just oh yeah, we have confidence in our quarterback because we have to say it. If he really feels that this guy has any sort of chance of doing something good this year, you're out of your mind. Like, we got in this conversation last week. I ended up getting with a combo with what's his name? Coach Jason Brown. He was on Last Chance U or whatever. He has a show on YouTube.
I like Jason Brown.
Nice guy. But he said, he's like, I expect big things out of Daniel Jones this year. And I'm like, what makes you say that? Like, not hating. He had one good year in which they didn't let him throw, and they ran the ball with a dude that dominated finally, and then left because why? He dominated, showed what he is, and wanted money because the Giants were dicking him.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I think we've been on this.
No, 100%. I don't know. How do you have? I don't have fucking confidence in Aaron Rodgers right now, right? How do you sit there and watch a guy that was mediocre in the best year he's ever had? He was mediocre.
Yeah.
And sit there and be like, I expect big things from him. It's like, no, because you know what? Let's be real. The Giants, as somebody that's not a Giant fan and doesn't really give a fuck one way or the other, I don't hate Giant fans. I don't hate the Giants. And I think the worst thing that could possibly happen is they eke their way into a fucking playoff game, and then this guy gets an extension. And all you fans are fucking pissed when he's just doing the same old turnover bullshit.
Yeah, I listen. I agree with you. That's not
exciting.
And that's what happened.
That's our point of view.
2 years ago.
It just blows my mind how people can have any confidence as a Giant fan and say the words Daniel Jones in the same sentence. Nothing is confidence building about him. Like the Giants made some moves, and that was my argument. They didn't really give him a weapon, and everybody's like, oh, you forget about the draft? Who do they take 6th or whatever? I'm like, I get it. Unproven rookies mean nothing right now.
That's true.
If you said, listen, we put,
how many
Terrell Owens is his A-Day. We put him on the team. Something like that. Like we went out and got a receiver that can find space with double coverage, and if you throw the ball anywhere near him, he's going to come down with it. Right?
I think they had gotten like an A.J. Brown. Like the Eagles.
They traded for Devontae Adams or Brandon Ayuk.
Then I would say, you know what? Maybe they finally did what they've never done for this guy and got him somebody he could throw the ball to and have some kind of confidence in a wide receiver. But they didn't even do that.
The bad part is I get Malik Neighbors is like everyone's like was high on him coming out of the draft. And they also have Jalen Hyatt, who they drafted the first round last year too. But Jalen Hyatt, he played last year, but he didn't really like show anything special because
he didn't play first round talent.
Was that?
He didn't show first round talent in the.
No, he didn't. And then you also have the issue that he didn't really play with the first string quarterback. He played with Tommy DeVito and not Tyrod Taylor. I think Tyrod Taylor was a decent backup, but he didn't really play with Daniel.
Tyrod Taylor got how many snaps?
Not as many as Tommy DeVito because he kept getting hurt.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So,
Yeah,
That's
because
what I'm
you
saying.
get hurt.
No,
The
but
Mariners were
that's what I
watching
mean.
the
Like,
fucking game, and they were like, "You put who in? Get him off the field."
I love Tyrod Taylor. I thought I honestly, I feel so bad for Tyrod Taylor. He's a really good quarterback, and every time he gets opportunity, he gets hurt. It sucks, but
yeah.
I mean,
He got hurt.
Yeah, dude, and I mean, signing what's his name at running back was a good deal, but it's not filling that hole. It's not.
Who's it? Singletary?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's not Saquon.
It's just like, listen, I think they got a good value there, and I think they got a reliable running back, which should help them. But you took an L in that position. You lost a chunk there. Like your Madden stats dropped offensively.
One thing I agree with Shane when he talked about Hard Knocks was when they were talking about the negotiation with Saquon.
Mhm.
He was like, I have a $40 million quarterback. I can't be paying them the $13 million. That's over $50 million for just our backfield. Like,
Right.
you have to put that money elsewhere. And
But that was on you for hiring a terrible quarterback. Like,
I understand, but I think he just
I don't think
he's like, I can't do much else than that.
I don't think there was anybody in the league that sat there and saw them sign Daniel Jones for $40 million a season and go, good deal. That was a good deal.
No one did.
That's not true, because how many Giants fans defended it? The same people that wanted him gone the year before and couldn't wait to get rid of him. This is the last year of his contract. We're sitting there saying, "Oh, but that's what $40 million is what B+ quarterbacks go for." It's it's great. He's a C-.
As I said, there's nobody in the NFL that said that was a good deal.
Right.
Everybody in the NFL was like, "Why?" And honestly, as Jets fans, we sat there and we were like, "Mark Sanchez."
You're right.
But that's what we said, because we were like, "Yo, they're living our lives fucking 12 years ago. That's us."
Yeah.
Learn from us.
Learn from us. Learn from me. When Tannenbaum told fucking Coach Westhoff, because we had Coach Westhoff on the show, and Coach Westhoff was like, "Really, Mark Sanchez?"
Yeah, he did.
And just Coach Westhoff said, like, "Hey, I'm not shitting on Mark. I like Mark a lot. He's a great young man, but he didn't deserve that contract." And Tannenbaum just looked at me dead in the eye and said, "That's what a starting quarterback goes for in the NFL. And since he's our franchise guy, we got to pay him like a franchise guy." Coach Westhoff knew what the fuck he was talking about. Coach Westhoff is a smart dude. He's a smart dude.
Again,
and that's how I felt when they signed Jones. I couldn't believe it.
Once again, and I hate that excuse, and especially to hear that Tannenbaum said that, goes to show you that guy knew nothing. He's a fucking moron, because you're not supposed to worry about optics when you're in charge of running a fucking team that's supposed to get wins.
Supposed to worry about winning.
Right? Fuck the optics. I don't give a shit what the optics are. Okay? I'd rather you tell fucking Rex Ryan to go out there and be like, I'm sorry, where is this guy ranked out of 30-something quarterbacks? That's why he's only getting paid $8 million a season. Next question. Yeah. Like, it's pretty easy to sit there and do that.
But what I meant with the Shane thing with Saquon was, like, if you put, over $50 million, I get, we're talking about Daniel Jones. He's getting paid for it, and that's his fault. But if you're putting that much money on just those two positions and you don't focus on the line, those two guys that are worth $50 million combined aren't doing anything around the line.
No, agreed.
He had to make a move.
He made the wrong move.
To the line. It just sucks that Saquon was the captain.
He made the wrong move.
Yeah.
Overall, he made the wrong move. And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting here saying that Saquon's going to stand up for the next 10 years. It's not possible. He's a running back in the NFL. What is he, 26 years old, 27 years old? The odds of him playing for the next 5 years are very slim. You might get the next 3 years out of him, and that's it, right?
See, but I was going to say, not for nothing, how hard would it have been for the Giants to last year give this dude a contract, right? And then if they thought that they didn't want to invest that much into him, right? No, give him the contract. Give him 5-6 years, whatever, a nice chunk of cash that he wants, and then let him go up and roll the dice with him being your guy, right? Fuck Daniel Jones. You do whatever. You let him go after this year. He would have been gone this year. You build a fucking new quarterback. And if you were tearing it down anyway, and Saquon happened to be the fucking shining light, which he was probably the only one on the offense that was worth anything, you can then try to trade him and pick up pieces to fill holes.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't want to invest in the guy that was worth investing in. Instead, they invested in somebody that nobody would take that contract, and he's worth nothing to use.
Snake oil.
I think the smart move would have been obviously tagging Daniel Jones that year.
Right.
Saquon, right?
Yep.
He was kind of the guy. Have Daniel Jones prove it after last year. He wouldn't have proved it because it's Daniel Jones. And then you start over. But at least maybe you have a $13 million running back, but you still have a stud $13 million running back to pair him with a rookie.
They could have signed they could have somehow got a hold of Russell Wilson.
That too.
As a holdover, because I don't think last year's quarterback class was all that great. I really don't.
It was.
I didn't feel like anybody in that class was sexy as far as a pick in the NFL. Like right now, Caleb Williams is on the Bears. Obviously, the Bears are on right now. I don't think he has the mental fortitude to be
this year or last year.
This past year that just came by.
Oh, you mean this year? This year,
yeah.
2024. Okay. So I would say 2023 had CJ Stroud.
So, no. I'm talking about just this past year that just passed, where Bo Nix, fucking Caleb Williams, who's gonna cry to his mom when he loses games, like
Drake May.
Drake May. I don't think any of these quarterbacks have looked good in practice at all. Drake May's been staring down everybody and everything.
I think that's where the Giants kind of just said, like, well, we'll just stick with Daniel Jones because these guys don't really look like it. Like, I would have been pissed if they drafted JJ McCarthy. No offense, but
JJ McCarthy looks really bad right now too.
It's terrible.
Staring down his receivers. One read.
Tell me it wouldn't be worth it taking somebody in like the late second round, not having to pay him as much, and giving some kid a fucking chance, rather than giving Daniel Jones $40 million to pretty much get you exactly to the same place in the end.
Yeah, Hooker from Tennessee. Hooker from Tennessee fills that well. I like Hooker a lot. Obviously he's not playing this year because he's injured. But Jordan Travis, I liked a lot coming out of it just as a project. Yeah. And when I say a project, not that somebody that doesn't have the skill set, but just somebody that's not going to play right away because he's injured. But it gives him a chance to sit behind one of the greatest quarterbacks ever and sit down and learn. And I just love how the Jets put him down as non-football related injury.
Is that what they put him as?
They put him as non-football related injury. I'm like, really? Did you guys not see how he broke his leg? I mean, I get it. He didn't do it with you. There's probably some insurance that goes along with like why they did that, but like, it was totally a football related injury. He broke his leg playing football.
Yeah,
I guess maybe because they can't tag it that way because it didn't happen in this league that he's currently playing for, so it doesn't matter.
That's the only thing I can think of. But so we're watching this game real quick, right? The Bears against the Texans preseason. It's just nice to have football in the air, right? They do a little introduction for the Bears, for some former Bears players, and one of them was Steve Mongo McMichael's current wife. Mongo has ALS, also known as Lou Gehrig's disease, which is terrible, absolutely terrible. But seeing Steve Mongo McMichael up there, obviously I'm 37 years old. I don't remember him from football, even though obviously he played football, but he played football till 1994, I believe it was. So I would have been 7 years old when he was done. And obviously I'm from New York. So seeing anybody play football, it wouldn't be somebody from Chicago that I'm paying attention to. I remember him from WCW.
Oh, really?
He was a member of the Four Horsemen, and he became a wrestler after his football career was done. And actually, he was married to Deborah McMichael, who eventually ended up marrying Stone Cold Steve Austin. They are now divorced. But Deborah from WWE or WWF back then was Steve McMichael's wife. I say all that because I wanted to ask you guys, and it's a very off topic, and it's something Matt would discuss. By the way, happy birthday, Matt.
Yeah, happy birthday, Matt.
Yeah, happy birthday, Matt. Wrestling Addicts.
Happy birthday, Jerry. Jerry's birthday was also Monday. Our buddy Jerry.
Yeah, I missed his party, man. I'm pissed.
Yeah, it was a way.
But the other day, there was a picture of Shane McMahon in an office with Tony Khan. And there's been rumblings about him showing up in AEW. What do you guys think of that?
They should do a new invasion. I love the WCW WWE invasion. It was so awesome.
So bad simply because all the heavy hitters were out.
Yeah, but I don't care. It was still so much fun to watch.
Yeah, but so then I guess WWE would be then absorbing them because that's the only reason the WCW didn't happen, right?
Shane has nothing to do with WWE. He sold his.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Years ago, yeah. All of the McMahons don't own anything within the company anymore.
Oh, I thought he did.
Really?
Why I was saying that.
The parent company of UFC owns WWE.
Huh.
Vince sold his stock, controlling interest, to I can't remember the name of the company, but they own UFC.
Really?
Oh, right.
And they just kept everybody on board, like that's part of the deal. Everybody keeps their jobs.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, they don't know anything about wrestling, so it'd be really stupid to.
Well, I mean, that's what that parent company did for the UFC. They paid Dana White a shit ton of money for his controlling share, and then told him like, "Oh no, you're going to stay as commissioner and just sit there and rake in like $70 million a year."
Right.
Yeah, that was like,
if you don't know anything about that business,
right?
I forgot that they combined with UFC, WWE.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about that? Do you think that sparks something in wrestling with Shane McMahon possibly taking a role in a rival company from his father's business?
I was thinking the other way around. I didn't realize that backstory. So
it's almost like what actually happened, where he was like, "I bought WCW out from my dad."
Yeah,
it's almost like that kind of, but actually in like real life, and he didn't buy the company because there's no way he's buying out Tony Khan. Tony Khan has more money than the McMahons do.
Yeah, they do. They have a ton of money.
Which is fine unless Tony Khan's like, "Wait, you're going to buy this fucking turd? Here you go."
Yeah,
I think that would be the more provocative story. Like if Shane McMahon did somehow buy AEW and turn it into a gem, I would sit there and watch it just because I'd be like, oh my God, maybe he's going to go back old school and we're getting Jello matches back.
They'll never do it. They'll never fucking do it, bro. Okay? Maybe if Spike TV still existed, we'd have a shot.
Well, they're talking about Raw potentially going back to a PG-13 rated mature because it's going to be on Netflix next year.
Yeah, they said to be cursing and stuff.
All right, so since we're going down this rabbit hole, it's topical.
When you say topical, do you mean like it's a topic to talk about, or topical like it goes on your skin?
I mean like to talk about, and it ties in with what we're talking about. And
it goes on.
How about Deadpool Wolverine making like $600 million in a week and having rave reviews, and it's the first Disney fucking film that hasn't shit the bed in like the past 6 years or show. Yeah. Okay, and literally all because Ryan Reynolds was like, "Yeah, this is my baby." And I'm running the show, and I'm making fun of everything that you fucking people hold ideologically sound. I'm literally just walking in, taking a shit on it, and it makes $600 million. At what point do you say we're wrong?
Did you see what happened when Jamie Lee Curtis apologized for making fun of Marvel the other day?
No.
Jamie Lee Curtis took a shot at Kevin Feige and Marvel and everything they've been doing in the last few years, and apologized for it. And Ryan Reynolds quote tweeted her tweet apologizing and said, are we supposed to be making apologies for ripping apart Marvel?
Dude, like, it was a good movie. Actually, it was a great movie. It was a fun movie.
I loved it.
Right? It didn't have to further any storyline. I'm not giving any spoilers. No spoilers, Rook. I'm on top of it.
I was actually going to do my.
Dude, can you believe Superman? Wait, I'm joking.
No, I know Chris Evans is in it. I was
going to drink my whiskey. I got the commemorative mug from Alamo. I was going to drink my whiskey out of the commemorative mug.
So, dude, listen. No spoilers at all. They legitimately made a fun movie that didn't have to further any sort of storyline. It was just exactly what anybody that read a comic or played a Deadpool video game or knows anything about Deadpool and Deadpool culture wanted to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine and see like a bloody, gory, sarcastic, bad buddy cop type movie.
Well, it's kind of like
mutants. Yeah. Literally what it was. And it was fun and entertaining. And I think everybody walked out of that, whether you're a nerd for comics and it needs to be accurate as hell, or you're a dude that like is into the Disney Marvel universe, or like everybody walked out of there happy.
They even made fun of like the nerds that are like, oh,
dude,
it's got to be like a comic book. They were like, oh yeah,
they didn't take themselves seriously. They didn't take themselves seriously. You had Ryan Reynolds sitting there going like, yo, the stories are written. Like there's literally only thousands of comics. And all we have to do is take the best parts of a little bit of this and a little bit of that and literally give the fans what they want and not push anything on them. And everybody will be happy. And it's like, oh, you mean we don't have to hire this fucking team of angry bitches to go on a panel and absolutely destroy Star Wars? We don't got to do that? It's like, no, that's how you don't make money.
Yeah. I maintain, I don't think we have to wait for Rook to see this movie because he's flat out not going to see it. He's got 2 girls and a wife. Who's he seeing this movie with?
Well, I asked TJ to go, but he already saw it.
If I'm going to see it again, I'm going to bring Alex because honestly, Nick, now that you've seen it, I don't mind like the gore and shit like that. He plays Fortnite. He shoots people's faces off, whatever. And the cursing. There's no nudity and really no sexual references whatsoever.
In the beginning of the movie, he totally references fucking all those TVA guys.
I mean, my 8-year-old son's not going to pick up on what he's saying.
First 30 seconds of the movie, he's just like, I'll fuck all 5 of you guys.
I think he's going to glaze over it. What I'm saying is compared to the first one, which I would not let him watch.
Oh, yeah, because with the ring pop? Yeah, no.
Nobody wants to see Ryan Reynolds take it a strap on. I mean, except probably what's his face that co-owns Wrexham with him. He'd watch.
Blake Lively wants to see it. But yeah, I think that Shane McMahon showing up in AEW definitely piques my interest to a certain degree.
If they do something with it.
If they do something with it. If he shows up, he's a character and he does something, and it's like if he brings somebody with him, more importantly, I think that and when I say somebody, I don't mean somebody like fucking Flair or Undertaker. Undertaker will never happen, by the way. But let's say he brought Lesnar with him. I think that's a game changer because Lesnar's still a name.
I don't know if Lesnar would do it because at this point, Lesnar would be like Goldberg coming into the WWF at the end, and everybody's like, "Fuck this dude, he's a dick."
But he's still,
you know what I mean? I get it, but it's
he shows up with Bret Hart. I just think it's kind of interesting, but we digress. We move on. Thank you for entertaining my crazy thoughts. So the MLB trade deadline is over, and a lot of moves. Not all of them sexy. But one of the sexy moves the Yankees did make, they traded for Jazz Chisholm Jr. Now, one thing that really bothered me overall with the entire thing, that it was just for some stupid reason. Some reporter decided to ask Gleyber Torres if he would play third base, and his response was, "I play second base." Like, and what he actually gave a very long answer, but the first two things he said was, "I'm a second baseman. I play second base," and then he went on to say, "I'll play wherever they want me to play, and I'll do my absolute best at it. I'll take the reps at third if I need to, but I'm a second baseman." And everybody's like, "Oh, he's a shitty second baseman." Now, as somebody who's played baseball his entire life, I know for a fact third base is harder than fucking second base. So if you're playing fucking second base poorly, what manager, what baseball person in the fucking world is like, let's move this guy who's not doing well at second base to a more difficult position where you have to field the ball more cleanly, which he does not. You have to have a stronger arm, and you have to have better, I'm not going to say
reaction time. It's reactionary.
No, I wasn't even going to say reaction time. You have to have better instincts.
Oh yeah, but at that point, third base, dude, a one hopper up the third baseline at the hot corner, it's a snap reaction. It's literally like your what is that? The fast twitch muscles. Like some people just can't do it.
And everybody's sitting there going, "Oh, he's terrible. Get rid of his ass. He said he wouldn't play third base." The fact that you want to think that he should play third base, you're a fucking moron. Don't talk about baseball anymore. You're a moron. If you think that Gleyber Torres, who can't play second base, should move to third base because Jazz Chisholm Jr. is a better second baseman, which he is, you're an idiot because Gleyber Torres can't play third base, can't play second base, and damn sure can't play third base. We watched the games that Jazz Chisholm Jr. played third base. He made multiple plays that Gleyber Torres cannot make at third base. Not only that, as a person that has played both positions in competitive baseball, right? Throwing to second base to roll a double play from third base is far and away more difficult than throwing to first base. For whatever reason, your vision, the way you move, your motion, everything about throwing to first base is more natural than throwing to second base. And the biggest fear in your mind going from the right side of the infield to the left side of the infield is that you will go to throw to second base and throw that ball into right field, which is a two-base fucking error. And everybody's like, "Oh, Gleyber didn't roll two." Yeah, because if he was playing third, that ball would be in right field right now, and that runner would be on third base.
On top of the fact that at third base, especially moving to your right side, if you're going even to first base, but if you're going to second base, you are throwing a sidearm throw to second base. If you can't throw sidearm accurately, or if your ball then tails away, like Dave, when Dave was on our team, your buddy Dave, he had a tail coming from that side of the field. When he would whip the ball across his body, it would tail away. If you can't do that, like you just said, that ball is going into the outfield, and it's just chaos. It's literally
honestly, the view from third base to second base versus third base to first base is daunting, because at first base you got the line. You've also got if you have a good catcher, your catcher's backing up your throw to first. If you have a good catcher, it's a more natural look because you're always looking toward first base. It's a natural appearance. Throwing to second base, because it doesn't happen all of the time. It's like if I miss by 6 inches, I'm missing by 6 feet. And if you throw a short hop to first base, the guy's picking it. The guy's still out. Mike Gall's still picking it up. The guy's out. If I throw a short hop to second base, it's in right field. It's a 2-base error.
Yeah.
Not to mention,
I say, though, Yankee fans are just stupid because somebody commented, they were like, "You're going to put Jazz Chisholm at third base this game? Is going to be terrible." And it's like, why? The guy's like, and they're like, "Well, he's never played before." Okay, he's played outfield, he put second base. The guy has good reaction time. The Yankees know what they're doing. They tried him out at third base during practice, and like, yeah, he dropped a couple balls, but the guy has awesome reflexes, and he actually played a really good third base the first time in his career. There was a ball down the line, and then granted, he didn't get the guy out, but he saved the double.
Kept it to a single. Glaber, that ball goes down the line. It's a double. Easy. Yeah, I'm telling you right now, that ball goes down the line. It's a double.
He has better reflexes. He's a better arm, too.
He's a better athlete.
Yeah, better athlete. He was
playing better instincts.
So, aside from all this bullshit, how about the fact that the Yankees, for the first time this season, actually have a fucking spark? And it's fun to watch the Yankees baseball because they've been a boring shit pile this entire season. Like, essentially, there's been no fun, and then Jazz Chisholm hits the field, and I mean, granted, he's belting home runs and doing great so far, but he seems like well,
that first home run he hit, that ball had to be juiced. Watch that ball. That ball is past him. That's a fly ball to left field. It should be, and it's a home run. And I'm like, there's no way that ball's not juiced. No way.
You know what? The baseball gods reward people that actually have fun playing the game, because nobody on the Yankees had fun all year playing the game. And all of a sudden, now it's everybody smiling. I swear to God, if I see somebody get a hot foot in the next week, you might as well just call the World Series now.
The one thing that ticks me off, it doesn't tick me off, but it kind of like makes you sit there, shake your head and go, what the fuck are these people doing? A couple weeks ago, Jahmai Jones is leading off for us. And I don't remember who the other guy was because he's already gone. Oh, Davis. He's back.
That was a terrible experiment.
They're both gone.
And they're both fucking gone in a week and a half. Oh, but these are the guys that are going to play. Like, get the fuck. They were bums. They always were bums. Everybody knew they were bums. What the hell is going on? And the fact that you sat there and thought it was a good idea to play them makes me question. Especially, it's one thing if you play a guy one day, you play a guy. That's it. Somebody needs a rest. You don't rest all your guys on the same day. You're punting that game. Yeah, you're punting that game, You don't play Homer Bush, Luis Sojo, and Ruben Sierra on the same day.
No.
You don't. You play Homer Bush one day, Luis Sojo another day, and Ruben Sierra another day. You don't play them all on the same day. You can't have a 30-year lineup just be mailing it in because you want to give people days off, and that's fine. Like, I get it. You need rest. It's a long season. I get it.
The only time that would happen was when the Yankees were like the last two series, like in the 90s when they were so good. Like the last 2 series of the year didn't matter, and they just they threw it in like late September. Doesn't matter, throw them on. Absolutely
ridiculous. But the only thing I will say, and a lot of people are talking about Jazz Chisholm. He wore his hat backwards. Oh my God. Fuck it. I don't care about his hat being backwards. I will say I do not like his belt.
I like his belt.
I don't like his belt, and I'll tell you, it's a personal thing for me. That's my favorite color. That's why when we do our show, our names are lit up in neon green.
Yeah.
But TJ will tell you, and it's just a personal thing for me. TJ will tell you, at some point in my career, I just got really full of myself in our league. And I used to wear all royal blue and silver because our colors were royal blue and silver. So all my gear was royal blue and silver. Everything, my helmet, my batting gloves, my armbands, whatever I was wearing, my socks, my
Condoms.
Cleats, everything.
Kept showing us. I didn't understand why.
And then like a season or two, I hit like I batted like 400 and TJ had like 70 RBI that year. And I got really full of myself. I started getting selected to go to all-star games. Other teams were asking me to play in the fall with them and shit. And then I started wearing neon green shit. Instead of matching the rest of my team, I decided I wanted to stand out. And no, it's not that I paid like shit. I was just an asshole. I was an asshole. I wasn't about the team. I was about myself.
To be fair, it is kind of about it. It's not just, we like to talk shit to each other. So it did for a beer league baseball team that whether you won a championship or nothing, it was just a pat on the back and having fun with your friends. It was fun to be able to talk shit. Even after a loss, look at somebody and be like, oh, I got 3 hits today. It's not my fucking fault we lost. And then start a problem.
But that's not the player I was. And again, I just don't like.
You're exacerbating that. That's not even how you were perceived at all.
And then when I left the team for a few years and I came back and I was back to everything being royal blue. But I just don't like that belt because it just doesn't match everybody else's. Like your cleats can be whatever color you want. You want to wear purple wristbands, that's your prerogative. But that neon green belt is such an eyesore. Like it just doesn't match at all. Like
he wears the purple batting gloves and the armbands too.
Yeah, I know. He thinks he's a fucking joker out there. But
I like Flair, dude. I mean, and Rook knows this. We're Ricky Fowler people. We like a little flair.
The difference is Ricky Fowler plays by himself or plays with himself. I don't know.
No, he has a caddy. That's not fair.
But the Mets are doing half decent. They're in a wild card hunt. They didn't make the moves that they needed to make, and I'm pretty sure Senga is out for the rest of the season, isn't he?
Yeah, he's done. That Grimace magic is kind of wearing off a little bit for the Mets.
The Grimace magic is wearing off a little bit. However, they did beat the Tar out of who they play the other day. They beat them like 14-2.
Yeah, 15 to whatever it was. They scored 15.
I want to for a second. I want to say Cleveland, but it definitely wasn't Cleveland. It was an AL team. I just can't recall who it was that they just mollywopped. Which, by the way,
I love that word.
I do too. And when I watched, it was the Twins. They were playing the Twins.
It was the Twins. I was going to say Twins.
It was the Twinkies.
Good guess by me.
The mollywop thing from the Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem was great. He's mollywopping me. It was my favorite part of the whole movie. But the Mets are still in the hunt. Obviously, everybody and their mother makes the playoffs these days. So like we'll see where it ends up. The Mets historically have never made the playoffs twice in a decade. Or more than twice in a decade. And when I say a decade, I mean like the 10s, the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, 70s, so on and so forth. The Mets have never made it twice in a decade. This would be the first time. I'm pretty sure they made it already. They made it in 20 and 22. So if they make it this year, this will be the third time in a decade for the first time in their history.
Wow.
But they're actually like 3 times. I mean, it only took the MLB letting like a third of the fucking league into the playoffs for it to happen. But, good for them. Good for them if they make it.
Yeah, fuck it. We're not doing anything in the last fucking decade anyway, so who gives a shit?
Yeah. We move on. Nothing sexy going on here. Ryan Lindgren signs a contract extension with the New York Rangers. He's back to play.
Dude, I like that dude. He's a heart and soul man. You know what?
That's my boy.
I understand. At this point, you got to hope the guy can play fucking half a season because the beating he's taken over the last 3 years is just insane. But
Agreed.
like, if anybody deserves to stay a Ranger, it's that man. Okay,
Absolutely.
He's given enough.
Absolutely.
Deserve the extension.
We drive on.
Whiskey of the week.
Before we start, I talked to Uncle Mickey. Uncle Mickey's birthday was last Friday. Happy birthday, Uncle Mickey.
Happy birthday, Uncle Mickey.
Uncle Mick.
Uncle Mickey comes back and he goes, I had a rum and coke the other day. It's fucking awful. I can't drink anything but brown liquor now. After that whole experience, it ruined all the cheap stuff for me.
That's amazing.
It's fair.
Love it.
It's fair.
You gotta love it. What are you guys drinking tonight?
Tea.
Well, yeah, I'll jump in. I definitely am not going with the cheap stuff tonight. A little Booker's action, 2023, batch number 3. This is the Mighty Fine batch going off at 63.3 alcohol by volume, 126.6 proof. 7 years, 1 month, 10 days of age on this bottle. Well, that's the lowest aged bottle that's in here because it is a blend. They blend different barrels. They actually give you a card in the Booker's when you get it. But I love this stuff. As you can see, it goes really fast. I like proofy bourbons. I drink my bourbons neat most of the time, and I absolutely love Booker's. But it's my one thing is become kind of unaffordable. If you can get it at MSRP, it's like 99 to 109, depending on where you are in the tri-state area. But most of the time, it's hard to find it at that 99. It's usually like 120 and up. So it's hard to buy all 4 bottles every year and roll the dice, hoping that something's bad, something's good. I happen to get lucky. The Mighty Fine Batch is very good. It is very smooth. It is very strong on the nose, though. The nose, you pick up the alcohol right away, right? You Nick, you remember? Leave the mouth open, breathe in. You got it down. Nick and Rook were looking at me the entire time we were at every distillery because every time somebody was saying to do something, I was looking at them and they're still making fun of me, even though I'm correct in everything I fucking say. Woman be like, yeah, there's like 200 flavors, usually vanilla, caramel, and they're staring at me laughing, like still abusing me.
Because in our mind, in our minds, we're sitting there going, so she's lying too.
We don't believe you.
There's a conspiracy about this now. There's no wood, there's no cows, and this doesn't taste like 200.
It's like
if you told me chocolate chip cookies, I'd believe you.
DJ must have a great tip to talk like that.
But anyway, I love Booker's. This is a very good batch.
Booker's is very good.
It's definitely a little stronger. The alcohol is a little more noticeable. However, it's not overpowering. You do get the little Kentucky hug, which you guys made fun of me before, but everybody was saying it in Kentucky, so kiss my ass, boys.
No, I didn't make fun of the Kentucky hug. That was
I don't think we ever made fun of you for saying that.
No,
you guys both. The first time I said it, you were like, "Really?
Who, me?
You didn't believe that was a saying?"
No, I didn't know what it was. I was just like, "Oh, I don't know what that meant," and then he told me about it, and it wasn't making fun. It was more of a educate me, TJ.
All I know is that he was sitting here saying, "This is like unicorn semen."
Whatever. Dude, Booker's is always good, but the Mighty Fine Batch, if you can still find it out there, it is. I think my favorite since 2020, the 2023 out of all 4 batches. So definitely good. You get that caramel. You get a little bit more of the oak in this bottle than anything else, but it's very smooth and proofy, exactly how I like it.
Cheers. Nick, you want to go or you want me to go?
I'll go. I'm the throwback. You know, I feel like we've gone through a I don't even know what to call it. We've gone through a library of different alcohol trends as we've gone through the ages together.
Labyrinth? A labyrinth?
No, I never got lost. Never got lost. A library, a catalog.
Catalog. I like catalog. That's a good one.
And Rook knows when I was younger, I used to drink rum and cokes. And then I moved on to scotch. And now I moved on from scotch. I started hitting whiskeys. Now I moved on to like dark rums. I'm still drinking whiskey, don't get me wrong, but I'm also drinking dark
aged rums.
Aged rums are fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a throwback, little double black, 80 proof, Johnny Walker, double black, smoky, lots of spice in this one.
So good, dude. That on the rocks, just two ice cubes, pour it right over the top, and a cigar. Tell me that's not a great night. That's like a full night.
That's a great night. I mean, I don't smoke in my house, so I'm not doing that right now. But I did have a giant ice cube in this bad boy before, and I drank about a glass and a half of this. Absolutely a phenomenal pour. Just a good drink overall, especially a sipper. Ooh. You know, people will sit there and drink Johnny Walker Black, and they'll mix it with Coke, black and soda. I drink black and soda. You know, if I'm feeling froggy, I'll drink a little black and soda.
But no, I'm with you. The double black is definitely, it has enough to it where it's a Friday night pour. It's like an end of the work week. Like, I've been looking forward to this type of deal. Like, listen, it's not going to kill your budget. It's not going to break the bank, but it feels special. That smokiness gives you a little extra something.
And if you're drinking bourbons, this is going to have a lot more spices and flavors to it, obviously, because it's a scotch. Rook, by all means, go ahead.
So I was at my job today. I left work. They called me as I'm in my car. And like, we need you to pull over and join this hearing. I'm on the hearing for about 30 minutes. No one answers. And I'm parked in front of a liquor store because nowhere else for me to pull over. When you get off the Holland Tunnel, there's a liquor store right there. It's that first left. It's a buy right. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to park in this parking lot. I'll do the hearing from here. I'm on the whole call for 40 minutes. Then they call me back and they tell me, they already said it's over. You don't have to do it. So I've been sitting there for 40 minutes. I'm annoyed now. You know what? I'm going to go and look at the store and see what they got. So I first walk in, go to the bourbon section. They have all like the cheap bourbon, nothing really crazy. I'm like, damn, this place sucks. They don't have no bourbons. As I'm leaving the store, they had an entire section of more higher end bourbons like Booker's and, more $60, $70 bottles. So I was like, all right, I grabbed this one. This was a $50 bottle, $17.92 bottled in bond. And I like $17.92 is what the typical bottle, I think it's like 35. They're small batch.
Yeah, the small batch is like 30 something bucks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Good
$35. And this one was, I think it was like 49 when it comes to tax, over a little over 50.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to, it's not a bad price, bottle and bond. Let me give it a shot. And I tell you, I'm not disappointed. I've been drinking this the entire show. Has a good scent to it. It's actually kind of a little sweet. Has a,
yeah.
I actually taste the vanilla this time.
Ooh.
So I taste a little vanilla, a little sweet. And it's actually kind of smooth. I did have to put a rock in it because it was sitting in my car and I forgot to take it out. So it was a little warm. So right now I'm drinking a little warm, but it's actually still a pretty good bourbon. Not bad.
100%. 100%. I love that fucking bottle.
Yeah, it's I think it's a pretty good price too for it too. $50, not bad.
I was gonna say, so the only way that gets better, because 1792 is very good with marketing all their, like they have their small batch, like we said. Then they have the bottle and bond, that's a $50 bottle. They have the sweet wheat, which is like a $55 bottle. A lot of places mark it up because it is not easy to come by. Our good friend Chris McCormick just actually seen one out in the wild.
Yeah.
And then the Foolproof, which I love, is a $54 bottle. Like, I mean, they keep all their bottles in a easily spendable range, and they're all quality. But the one caveat to that's an even bigger value is when Kirkland has their bottle and bond bourbon, right? Their Kirkland signature bottle and bond bourbon, and it's not easy to find. Okay. When they have it, it's made by the Barton Company, which makes 1792, and it is literally, but it's a liter for like $29 or something like that. So you get more bourbon for half the price.
Yeah.
And it's the same juice, allegedly.
Yeah, but this is pretty
good.
solid, though.
Dude, I went through my bottle of that in a month, I would say, which is very fast for a bottle of bourbon for me. I drank it until it was gone. That whole month.
TJ, you missed this. I had this is from Willett. Rowan's Creek.
Rowan's Creek. Yep, I have Rowan's Creek.
That was what I bought last week. It's actually really good.
You liked it? So did a lot of people get off put by the initial flavor is kind of like an iodine-y, like, and then it has to open up a little bit. So when I first opened the bottle, my first pour had like this weird, like it reminded me of iodine, like the smell, not the, obviously I don't know what iodine tastes like, but the smell. Like it through the nasal passage. I swear to God, I'm not drinking iodine. I eat lead paint chips. That's it. Okay, that's my advice.
I was gonna say the Hoof GP uses a lot of iodine to soak up the injuries on the hooves to the cows.
Yeah,
I just put. You know what I actually do? I take mercury and I put it all over my head, just so I can get one of those Mad Hatter diseases because I think it sounds cool. Yeah, dude, that would make sense. It would be like, that's what's wrong with him.
So much. I'd be like, wow, fuck,
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
I told you guys he was retarded.
But cheers, boys. This is solid bourbon. I'm pretty happy with this buy. So
yeah, absolutely. Good pick, dude. Good pick.
I've actually never seen it anywhere. That was the first time I've ever seen it. So
they're coming out a lot more. Like I said, the sweet wheat, I've seen it like for triple the price. People grab it and they're like, oh, this doesn't come out that much. Hawk it for $150 and it sucks. But now you're starting to, I think a lot of people are saying the bourbon bubble has popped and like prices are coming down. And I've definitely noticed that because now we're seeing even on like online retailers, I won't give anybody a plug, but bottles that normally were like sitting on shelves in liquor stores for $400 or $500, online retailers are selling for like $225. So the bottle might be a $90 bottle. So they're upcharging it, a time and a half, but it's better than the 7 times that you see it sitting in a glass case at your local liquor store. And it's shipped to your house for most of the time free. So I think the Baron bubble might have popped. We might start seeing maybe even Blanton's under $100 again, which would be nice.
I got it last year for 75. And
it's the same store that I got it myself too.
Don't say that.
I'm not saying it. The same store I've gotten my bottle for under $100 too, and I've never seen it anywhere else for under 100.
No, first of all, I can't even find the bottle anywhere.
By the way, I talked to Kristen, Jerry's wife. She said he needs to come with us this year.
He needs to. I miss Jerry.
We need to harass him. We need to harass him about it. His wife told me flat out, take his ass with you.
But let's move on.
Moving on, real quick. We're not going to give too much credence to these fuckers. We're going to talk about the Olympics. Before we get into the Olympics and we get into the real fucking bullshit going on in the Olympics, I do want to give a shout out to the men's gymnastics team. A couple things that I'd never seen before that I saw it now. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I've never seen it. I never saw a men's the men's team do a floor exercise.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I don't think I've ever seen it, and I'm like, I was like, wait a second, is that are they doing the fucking? I've never seen them. I've never seen it. I always see women do the floor exercise. I've never seen.
Yeah, I've never seen like the men's like the those offshoot floor like where they wave the fucking ribbon and shit like ribbon those dancing? Weird. Yeah, like but I've seen the men. It's insane. Like I understand that floor is springy and stuff like that, but when you see a dude just randomly bounce like 11 feet in the air, and it's not a trampoline, it's just kind of a trampy type floor. That's fucking impressive.
It's bouncy, but they get high. I'm like, oh shit!
So I'm gonna do a fucking quad flip right now, and if I miss, I die.
I will say the men don't have better balance. The men do not have better balance than the women do. The men don't stick it as well as the women do. Obviously, men have a higher center of balance than women do. The center of gravity for a woman and a man are different. But so you'll see the men stick it, and they don't stick it as good as like a Simone Biles would.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. I mean, when the men are on the balance beam, there's a lot more risk. Right.
Quick shout out to Steven Nadorosik, who has strabismus, which if you don't know is a lazy eye. He has a lazy eye. Yeah. And my man killed the pommel horse. Killed it. I sat there and watched it, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Also, the men's U.S. gymnastics team was actually the youngest team in the Olympics at 22 years old. 22, I think 0.7 or something like that. Youngest team in the Olympics, and they did a fucking phenomenal job. And Steven Nadorosik, really fucking phenomenal.
I think it was like a first medal since 2008 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, got a bronze, but listen, that bronze is still something to be proud of. You know how many hundreds?
22 years old. I wasn't getting bronze medals doing anything at 22 years old.
No, and how many people compete in the Olympics, like in the World Championships, and like just to get to that point, just being at the Olympics is a goal enough. But then be able to bring home a bronze for your country in a what I was going to say category or sport that they haven't won anything in almost 20 years is pretty impressive.
U.S. first country to break 3,000 gold medals. I think it was 3,000 gold medals.
No, 3,000 total medals. I think it was
3,000 total medals.
Yeah.
Simone Biles, the winningest gymnast or it might be female gymnast. I'm not sure. I think it's gymnast though. The winningest gymnast in the history of the Olympics, most gold medals overall.
And Katie Ledecky today got as the winningest, or sorry, not winningest, but most medals by a female swimmer. So she's like basically second to Michael Phelps, pretty much. And
congratulations to those Olympians and the good things that they are doing. Not to say that the Olympic Committee is doing anything.
We have before we get into the shit show, we're getting into the shit show, but you guys have glazed over possibly the greatest athlete that has medaled so far in these games.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, my man from Turkey,
that guy
taking silver in shooting. Blew everybody's mind because he just shows up in jeans and a fucking t-shirt. Everybody else got the shooting gear and the thing over the eye and the shit like that. This guy literally shows up, fucking shoots, X where the smoking section was, and left. When they asked him about winning the medal, he said, because he's going through a divorce, he said, I was just looking for a weekend away with my kid. And then he said his ex-wife's name and said, I still want the dog back. And then he walked off the interview. This guy's the man. He's the fucking man.
This is him right here. I love the fact. Look at this. He's going to shoot. His other hand's in his pocket.
In his pocket.
Bro. Number one, if you see this guy in Turkey, don't fuck with him. Okay. Number two, for the love of God, give him back the dog, lady.
Here he is again.
This guy's going to pick you off from a bridge 6 miles away. That's amazing. That's amazing.
I've been
Hands down the best athlete in the Olympics, bar none.
It's amazing.
If that doesn't exude athleticism, I don't know what does.
This is he looks like a guy who like he's like I gotta compete in what right now? Like,
Oh yeah.
He
I
looks
think
like
Turkey was just like, yo, next guy up, you're going. And it's like, yeah, but I got to run a shop tomorrow. It's like, dude, you're going. We chose you.
He looks like fucking the Turkish version of Michael Douglas in Falling Down.
Oh my God.
So actually, the funny thing is, my buddy texts me. He works for a company that's pretty international, and he's like, I have a guy that works in my office is from Turkey. That's actually his friend. The guy was in the military. The guy's complete fucking. He's like, this guy's a badass. Like, this guy showed up and he just knows how to shoot. He goes, he doesn't need any of the gear. He's the most badass dude I've ever met in my life. And he was like in the Turkish military for all those years. He's like 51 too. Like, he's not like a young guy. And he's like, my coworker's like, the guy's a complete badass. I wouldn't expect anything less.
He's just at the Olympics ripping cigarettes and probably laughing at people. Like, oh, look at this guy with the muscles. Oh, where you going, tough guy? I got a medal too. Fuck you, buddy. You know where my dog is?
Is that what Turkish people sound like in your head?
I have no fucking clue, dude. I don't know.
He's like,
okay, I'm trying not to offend because I'm about to offend a lot of people.
If she doesn't get that dog back, he's going to turn into John Wick. Just
I hope he does. I hope he does.
Baba Yaga.
Be careful, everyone.
I hope he does. So
well, let's get into it. Let's get into this shit. We wanted to get the Olympic stuff out of the way because we're not talking about the Olympics, the rest of this bullshit, okay? These opinions of my own, in case I go off on a tangent, so my opinions do not represent Nick or Rook or our podcast, but I'm going to address the elephant in the room. First and foremost, their opening ceremony was terrible. Not from a political standpoint or a religious standpoint. It was god-awful. It was... I just don't understand. And then on top of it, to poke fun at a religious group, which I don't support one religious group or the other getting shit on, right? To poke fun at essentially Christianity, then try to say that, oh, that's not what we did. And then the people that put together that put the choreography together was like, oh yeah, sorry. It totally was the Last Supper. It's like, so the Olympics try to deny it, and the people that choreographed it, it's like, oh yeah, our bad. We didn't mean to offend anybody by it.
It's still on the Visit Paris website. Was like, oh, it looks like the last. It says it on the
like
Paris
you
website.
can't, don't do that shit. Like cut the fucking bullshit. Everybody likes to go after Christians. I dare you to do it to somebody else. Maybe try poking fun at the religion that moved into Paris and completely destroyed your fucking city, and that's why nobody travels there anymore. But I'll let that go. That's a different topic of conversation, okay? And then yesterday, having to watch a fucking biological man beat the shit out of a chick to where 45 seconds in, she throws in the towel and quits and is hysterical crying because she has to give up on her dream because what's in front of her? A fucking dude who gets his jollies by beating up women. There's no place in sports for that. There's zero. The reason why there's different weight classes in sports is for fairness. And then there's different gender classes because holy shit, if I have to paint this picture for you, you're a fucking idiot. Like that, there's no reason to say you want to go through life and you want to change your gender and you want me to call you Jennifer when I used to know you as Jim and what that's fine. That's just politeness and being, a good part of society. What you do is your fucking business. It doesn't affect me. However, allowing somebody to go there when you have a clear advantage and then exploit that advantage while also doing it in a sport where you physically abuse the person you're competing against. Like, you're literally sitting there saying that beating women is okay if you're doing it for sport. How is that okay? If I said, hey, I got a sport where a man fights a tiger to the death, everybody would be like, all right, that's a little fucking crazy, but I mean, do you? We all have choice. If then somebody says, "Oh, I'm gonna invent a sport where a man fights a tiger cub to death, and it's a fucking newborn tiger," everybody like, "Yeah, that's fucked up and cruel and inhumane." Why? Because somebody has a clear advantage in that situation, right? Like it's horrifying that people will sit there and defend this.
You know what I
Okay,
don't
and
understand?
like
The whole thing that I don't get is the Olympic Committee took a stand and said that I think he's calling himself Leah Thomas now, can't swim, and that's cool. And I don't understand where like the water got muddied. I just it doesn't make sense to me. So Leah Thomas, the dude that used to be William Thomas, that has been swimming against women for a very long time at this point. It's been about 2 or 3 years. That he's no good. But these two guys that are boxing, that's okay. I don't understand how we got like what happened. I don't know what happened there. It doesn't make any sense to me.
It's people will sit there and say that this conversation in itself is transphobic, which is a fucking joke. It's a common sense issue, right? There's a clear advantage and disadvantage when it comes to biology. And if you want to sit there and say, oh, he or she can be whoever they want in a social situation, that's fine. When you're competing, especially physically, how come there's no women transitioning to be men and then trying to compete in men's sports? That's right, because none of them would make it. Because there's a clear difference biologically by what you're born as. You want to be mad about it? That's fine. Be pissed off at God. Okay? But don't take it out on the person that trained their entire life for this moment and it just got stripped from them because in no way, shape, or form is the best female boxer in the world going to compete against any man in the top 200. That's just the facts. Okay, when Ronda Rousey was the women's champ in the UFC, you ever see the videos of her sparring with fucking the dudes in the UFC? It was a joke to them. They were tossing her around and laughing, and they were letting her get on top and put them in guard and shit like that, and then just flipping her off because there's a serious difference. So I just that's my stance at least. I don't want to speak for these guys. I cannot support the Olympics when that's going to be fucking not only allowed, but celebrated. You're celebrating a dude beating the shit out of a chick and ruining her fucking dreams in an unfair manner. And this is supposed to be the pinnacle of the world of sports. Literally the entire world putting their best athletes forward. And this girl who trained her entire life, sweat, blood, and tears, got it stolen from her for a bullshit political agenda, essentially.
So I will say a couple things. One, I agree with you that women should not be competing with men and men should not be competing with women in physical feats of strength for the most part, because that's what everything in the Olympics sports are generally feats of strength. Other than, I think if men want to compete against women in shooting, I think that would be okay.
Yeah, I was going to say like
or NASCAR, like the car is doing all the work.
Like you can't have like combat, like UFC versus
not even just combat. I'm just saying like basketball. Like women are not soccer, football, baseball. Women are not competing against men. You have to be strong to do those things.
In that sense, like, I mean, like,
but that instance is absolutely awful, and I love Dana White's position on that. I have read things about it that possibly these two competitors might be hermaphrodites. So when they were born with genetic coding for a man, but they came out with appendages for a woman. I don't know.
Statistically, that anomaly wouldn't also be two people in the same fucking sport.
I do know.
Like that anomaly is it's significantly rare.
I do know that in the instance for the competitor from Algeria, that being trans is against the law and you'll land your ass in jail. So for their sake, I hope that what everybody's feeling is rumor, because if it's not, they're going to jail when they get back home.
The problem is it's not. And the World Boxing Organization, the reason why they were disqualified, and everybody's trying to paint it as a testosterone issue, it was a chromosome test.
Again, if they're hermaphrodite, it would show up that way.
It would show up differently. It wouldn't show up solid XY, XX.
It would show up. A hermaphrodite is that you show up biologically as a male and a female. So like you might have female appendages, but you showed chromosomally as a male.
I believe you can tell on a chromosome level if somebody is a I think that it's an anomaly in the chromosomes. If I'm not mistaken,
it is. It's not. It's an anomaly with the person versus the chromosomes. They don't match. The person has one thing, the chromosomes show another, or they physically have both appendages, which is another fucking conversation for a different day.
Listen, you know where I stand on this. every news media and sports media reporting that these people are biological males must be pretty confident because they're all throwing themselves under the bus with a lawsuit.
I've also seen that the IBA does have cause to see the Olympics fail because the Olympics has called out their corruption and said that you're not going to be a governing agency with the Olympics because you're corrupt and you're garbage. And I also have seen that the Olympics is doing biological testing as well, which is why Leah Thomas was disqualified from participating.
Right, that's what confuses me as well, and I don't
understand what the hell is going on. That's my confusion.
I think I believe the conversation last year before the Olympics, there was a whole thing about hormones and essentially if you're taking, I guess, like hormone blockers and genetically altering yourself to be more estrogen than testosterone, removing the testosterone from your body if you happen to be male, or if you're transitioning to male from female, adding testosterone, removing estrogen. And I believe the conversation came up that if the person is legitimately trans and using those hormones to try to alter their physicality and take away, because testosterone essentially is, other than bone density and muscle size, testosterone is what propels a man to be more aggressive, right? Endurance wise, it's a factor. I believe there was a whole thing where if you're taking those hormones or not, and it appears from what I read, obviously I don't fucking know, I'm not in the locker room with Leah Thomas or whatever her name is, wasn't doing that. So that makes sense to me. Do I know for a fact? No. I'm just trying to make sense of it.
I don't, it doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, okay, this person's a no, that person's a yes. That makes no sense. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it happened. It does look somewhat suspect or suspicious. But
there's a lot of suspicious things going on. And I don't mean to come off and try to shit on somebody's, because that's a big thing, like identity politics and stuff like that. If that's how you identify, that's fine. But if you can't see the moral dilemma with somebody that might be a biological male beating the crap out of a biological woman, like if you can't see through that veil of obvious issue, then I don't give a fuck if I offend you. Like, it's just crazy. That's like sitting there saying, like, if one day your father decides to walk in, identify as a woman, and then 2 days later beats the shit out of your mother and says, well, it's a mutual fight between two ladies. You're not going to see it that way. Like, it's not right. There's things that you can sit there and say socially this and that. There's just things that with the eye test isn't fucking right. And watching a dude beat the shit out of a woman and then have it be celebrated, and especially the fact that 45 seconds in, this girl knew like she had no chance. Like, it's just, I'm not trying to degrade anybody in the way they feel or the way they identify, but at the same time, watching somebody that worked their entire life to get to this moment and have it ripped away from them, that's what I care about more. Honestly.
I understand what you're saying. I mean, I saw it 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. The guy that fought Perry, who fought Jake Paul a few weeks ago, some little pissant TikToker went behind him, held up like a piece of paper rolled up and like almost like a megaphone, and said some stupid phrase in his ear and startled him. The guy could have turned around and destroyed that kid. Oh, yeah. The kid's like 5 foot, like 95 pounds. Granted, he's not a kid. He's a grown man. He's got to be in his early 20s. And I wouldn't blame Perry if he just beat the shit out of him. But he knows that he could do some serious damage on that young man. He could hurt him permanently.
Nick, we talked about this on the drive. We talked about this on the drive to your bachelor party. Brian Urlacher, Baz Rutten.
Yeah.
Brian Urlacher is a fucking apex predator, right? He's a fucking alpha male. And there's still somebody that sat there, Baz Rutten, sitting there. He stepped on a shoe. The guy started getting tough for him. Brian Urlacher didn't realize it was Baz Rutten, and Baz Rutten sat there and laughed. It was like, yeah, dude, relax. Fucking, like,
that's because
take it easy.
Baz Rutten, who I know from Cartoon Network, is a Omega level male.
Dude, like, it's like, when you're at that point, you have the respect and restraint of like, dude, I know I could fuck you up. You want to think you can, that's fine. I'm not going to let you find out. I have enough respect for myself to not do that to you. Right. And then the best part is finally somebody tells Brian Urlacher, what's what, and he went over and apologized.
It's a lot of mea culpas at that point. Any last things before we go, guys?
I know we're done with Olympic talk, but this is actually kind of wild. The surfing event is taking place in Tahiti because it's technically part of France because it's French Polynesian. So it takes place 9,700 miles away from Paris, which I think is like probably the longest distance away like ever in the Olympics for an event to take place. And by the way, I was watching surfing earlier. The waves in Tahiti are absolutely brutal, and they're just sitting there in the ocean waiting until they get a perfect wave, and it never fucking comes.
But if you had to choose, where would you rather be?
Tahiti.
France or Tahiti?
Tahiti, 100%.
I would rather be the worst surfer in Tahiti than the best athlete in France.
There's only 4 things I like from France in general, okay? French cuffs, French toast, French fries, and French kissing. That's it. The rest of France can go fuck itself.
It's true. France, I'm surprised the official flag for the Olympics was just a white flag.
Agreed. And that's what we'll leave with. Last before we go, happy birthday, Jerry. Happy birthday, Matt. Happy birthday, Uncle Mick. It was a good month.
Go Team USA.
Go USA.